Hi everybody, I want to show you how to graph lines on your graphing calculator. One of the first things you're going to want to do since you might have borrowed this calculator from someone or loaned it to someone, you want to make sure you're in a good place to start. And there's a couple things you can do to ensure that. First of all, when you hit y equals, which is where we're going to type our equation eventually, there might be some stuff there. If there is, you're going to clear it off. You might check these plot buttons at the top. If one of these is highlighted, you might need to go to second stat plot and then go down here and hit enter on one of these to turn them off. Mine are all off, but maybe yours say on, and you need to fix that. Okay. Another thing you might find is that when you hit window, which we'll talk in a minute what a window is, it might be weird numbers. Look at all these decimals and things. One thing you can always do to start is to hit zoom and hit number 6, zoom standard. What that's going to do is when we graph on the art calculator, it's going to start with a grid that you're very familiar with. Your x values are going to go -10 to +10. Your y values are going to go -10 to +10, which you guys are used to looking at on little grids that we put on worksheets and stuff. So zoom number 6 is a good place to start. Okay, so let's get started. First, I'm going to go old school here. I'm going to talk about an equation like 2x plus 3. And what we taught you in 8th grade was to make an x and y chart. We said, hey, make a table of values and plug in your value. So when I plug in -2 for x, I'm just going to write it off to the side over here. I get 2 times -2 plus 3, that's -1. When I plug in -1 for x, I get +1. When I plug in 0 for x, I get 3. Plug in 1 for x, I get 5. And when I plug in, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that's what I meant to do. Sorry, yes. 2 for x, I get 7. So we taught you to take those points and plot those points. Okay, so that's what you learned in 7th and 8th grade. Now here in high school, we've said, hey, let's be a bit more clever about it. That is your y-intercept right here. This is your slope, 2 over 1, so count up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, okay? So you know how to do graphing either with a table by hand to get points or being clever and using your slope-intercept form and pulling out the slope and the y-intercept. All right, let's talk about how to do it on the calculator. All right, we've cleaned up our calculator, we're ready to go. This is what you do. You start at this y equals screen, and here's where you can type in a whole bunch of equations. I'm just going to type in one equation. I'm going to type in 2, and then here's where the variable x is, 2x plus 3. And since I've already cleaned everything up, I can just hit graph. And there's a graph of my line, which looks a lot like this right here. It also shows you the data that created that line. Instead of choosing graph right above it, you see the word table. I can choose second table, and look at this. Here are my x and y values. When x is 0, y is 3. I knew that. When x is 1, y is 5. I knew that. When x is 2, y is 7. Hey, look, when x is 3, y is 9. There's a point I didn't choose. It's got all the points in here. I can scroll and see all the x and y values that are on my line, nice integer ones. Okay? So I can find all kinds of different points. If my teacher said to me, hey, what is f of 5? I don't even have to do any work. I can go, all right, hold on, let me see here. Oh, here, when x is 5, y is 13. Awesome. Done. Okay? So you can use it for all kinds of things. Let's go back and look at our graph. Here's our graph. One thing I can do is I can hit the trace button. I can see that I'm at the point 0, 3. That's where the little cursor is. He looks like a little bug. And if I hit my right or left arrow, he's going to trace along that line and show me other points. They're not as pretty, but I'm seeing some other points. For instance, here's 2.13, if I'm going to round it, for x, and my y value there is 7.26. Okay, so there's some decimal coordinates. that are in between the pretty ones that I picked. Okay? So you can look at all of those points on here. There we go. And again, my x values are going from -10 to 10. My y values are going from -10 to 10. This line really goes on forever. Matter of fact, when I trace off the end of it, if I keep going, does my screen move? No, I don't guess so. But it allows me to trace and look at points that are not on my graph. They're on the real graph, just I can't see them because of my window. All right, I want to show you how you can adjust your window if you're trying to graph something that doesn't show up right here. What if I were to change my equation and graph something like this? Y equals 2x plus 30. Okay, so instead of plus 3, plus 30. Now I'm talking about something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up here at 30 is where it crosses my y-axis with a slope of 2, okay? Well, if I'm looking from -10 to +10, -10 to +10 down here, I'm not going to see a line way up there. Let's change our equation and see what happens. So instead of plus 3, I have plus 30. Look at my graph. Nothing. All right, so I have to be more clever about it. I have to say, hey, I want to look all the way up here, okay? I want to kind of zoom out a bit and look a little bit higher on my graph. Here's where I do that. I go to that window setting. Now, is that changing an x value? Here's my x minimum value, my x maximum value. No. So I don't care about x. Look at my y values. Here's my y minimum value. Here's my y maximum value. Yes, that's what I need to change. I need to look higher than +30. So, I don't know, let's try 40. Now let's graph. There it is. There it is. All right, now I can see my graph. Again, I can trace it and look at all my values. Okay, for instance, when x is -1.8, y is 27. Good. Okay, my table's still the same, just FYI. Okay, I can see what my x and y values are on my table. All right, I hope this helps. We are going to be doing a lot of graphing, so keep all this in mind. Thank you.